Hey y'all, let's go ahead and start our devotional. Today is going to be chapter 1, and it's wars, violence, and lawlessness. Lawlessness. There we go. Watch for wars, big wars, little wars, ethnic wars, wars of all sorts. Along with escalating violence and increasing lawlessness, which will increasingly affect all of the world, especially the English-speaking nations. A common perspective is that the world will somehow get better. Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush talked often about a new world order. Y'all, if y'all have ever seen that movie, it is so scary. It's called New World Order. It is scary. I even questioned myself about that, but that's what they say is going to happen. And it says it in the Bible that if you don't take the chip, that if you're still here, you're left behind, that you'll be executed. And I pray I'm not here for that. I pray that I'm ready. I believe I'm ready. Are y'all ready? That's a question. Are y'all ready for when God comes back? I don't want anybody to be left behind. It makes me upset. Anyways, back to the story. As though, excuse me, still have that cough, y'all. As though there was going to be peace. Condoleezza Rice, National Security Advisor to former U.S. President George W. Bush, described her version of U.S. foreign policy as to help developing countries move from war to peace, poverty to prosperity, poor um, governance to democracy, and the rule of law. Foreign Affairs, July-August 2008. Yet increasing numbers of people around the world consider the U.S. as a threat to world peace. On April 2007, a poll by the Ford Institute found that German citizens consider the U.S. the greatest threat to world peace, with them 48% naming the U.S. as the main investigator of war and lawlessness around the globe. This post-Cold War time is unstable and extremely violent. Will peace emerge from the chaos? Brian Newcourt, former United Nations Under-Secretary General, reminds us that in the age of humanitarian intervention, the human catastrophes of failed states and civil wars will continue to come before the Security Council, a force behind the UN. The New York Times, August 7th of 2003. Indeed, the New World Order is only producing a faltering, fading peace. Events will grow worse, not better. Why is our civilization bankrupt of workable solutions? The global peaceful cooperation among the nation's ethnic groups. Norman Lear, long-term television producer and political activist, clearly delineated the problem in a speech addressed to the National Press Club, saying that at no time in my life can I remember our culture being so estranged from the essential part of itself. Referring to the spirit-led or spiritual life of our species, mentioned earlier in Lear's speech, the Gospel of Matthew contains Jesus' prophecy to his disciples about the state of the world just prior to his second coming. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. I've heard that all my life. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet, for nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Matthew 24:6-7. While humanity has lived with warfare over the millennia, our time in history is unprecedented because of the massive annihilative potential of modern weapons and the global scale of potential conflict. Verse 22 is prophet qualifier that only points to our time of high technology and its awful, brilliantly evil weapons of mass destruction. And unless those days were shortened, the time of World War using these new weapons, no flesh would be saved, human extinction, but for the elect God's repentant, obedient saints' sake, those who dwell will be shortened. Those days will be shortened. Today's world is full of widespread wars and rumors of wars. There are many ethnic wars taking place, not only in the former Yugoslavia, but also in the former Soviet Union and in many places throughout Africa and Asia. Dozens of regional wars are now being fought around the world. America will not escape the increasing international and international strife. The day will come when the Los Angeles riots of 1992 and the destruction of the World Trade Center towers in 2001 will seem like minor skirmishes. As America's old allies become unstable and its old alliances fall apart, so will wars and wars between nation states will increase. There will be little wars and big wars, resulting finally in a great war that will culminate at the Battle of Armageddon in the Jezreel Valley in Israel, at which point Christ will turn. Some think that it's alarmist, pessimistic thinking, unwarranted because of mankind's innate goodness. Such naive people exude a quirky kind of optimism, proclaiming in the best Pollyanna tradition. Oh, the things are going to get better. Well, as a minister of God, I am commissioned to tell you that they are going to get better until after Christ returns. Yes, this is a wonderful tomorrow's world, but realistically, you should realize that life will go very dark and desperate before a new world dawns. Have you noticed that completely inexplicable outbreaks of violence, random shootings, murders, mass killings? Jesus Christ predicted the social breakdown just before his return, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Matthew 24:12. We in the United States used to think we are a Christian society, perhaps some still do, but today a leisure time, entertainment, television, movies, and the internet revivals accident Rome's lust for, let's say it the nasty word, because I know some words you can't say on here. Drugs, including alcohol, violence, brutality. Another word I'm not going to say because I don't know how it says it. The United States and Canada have remarkably high prestings of their population who say they believe in God and go to church regularly. The hypocritical nation behavior was foreseen as a characteristic of human society existing just before the Messiah's return. The Apostle Paul was inspired to write, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, loves of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power." 2 Timothy 3:1-5. Men deny the authority of God. Despite a show of religiosity, Paul commands under inspiration of God that we from such people turn away. Verse 5. Get away from people who talk about religion but deny the authority of God, because they will mislead you and confuse you. The sassy, sarcastic, lust-filled generation is headed for big trouble. You need to recognize that and not be a part of it. The sign of war is increasing violence, and lawlessness is the first thing to watch for. And wow, I didn't even know that part about people. I mean, I knew people would be, we got a little bit of time to talk, false prophets and stuff like that, but I didn't know that they would. Well, that's kind of what it basically what it was talking about, wasn't it? Other than the other part that said that, which we already know about the hypocrites, if you read the Bible, talking about how they would be lovers of money, which I mean I could kind of see that. Um, what else did it say? Looking back, um, the traitors, the true lovers of pleasure, rather than the lovers of God, saying that they love God but they don't really love God. That's scary, y'all. But the Bible says don't be afraid. You know, as long as you got Jesus, you shouldn't be afraid. And sometimes I still get a little afraid. I have to pray about it. But the next one we're going to be reading is drought and famine. And I think it's going to be, the third's going to be earthquakes and other natural catastrophes. So, if I get this one posted, I may go ahead and do another one.